So, funny thing happened last Sunday, and that is that the Cincinnati Bengals, who the more perceptive of you may be able to grasp I'm a fan of, made the Super Bowl for the first time since 1988. I think it was 1988. I'm pretty sure it was 1988. A situation which, it's fair to say, no one who pays any attention to the NFL saw coming. So now, I've heard the rumors. I've seen all the talk in the dirt sheets, and all I can say is, look, I'm not saying it's because of the Cincinnati Chronicles, just that we can only have helped, really. Introducing more Cincinnati into the zeitgeist. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Hi, welcome to Telling Tales. Welcome to the Cincinnati Chronicles. I am Matt, your storyteller for this World of Darkness anthology series campaign, and we are right now, I suppose, a little bit halfway past the Mage the Ascension story arc, in that this stream has started, and we should have this stream and next week, and then we'll wrap up. Take a week's break and then move on to Wraith the Oblivion. But yeah, welcome. Let's get that pesky promo out of the way as I massively overheat in all this Bengals gear. If you check down below, there's a bunch of links. There's links to YouTube and to Twitch. You're watching on one. Please check out the other and follow and subscribe and hit likes and alerts and all those wonderful things. There's also links to our social media, our Discord, and our Patreon. They all do the things they do. Please check them out. We also run, we run in total 3 weekly series here on Twitch. Normally, we have a Monday crew doing Shadows of Estrin. At the moment, they're kind of hopping between Monday and Tuesday, but I believe, and quote me if I'm wrong, people, or correct me if I'm wrong, rather, they should return from a little hiatus on Monday, the 14th of February, which is, of course, the day after the Super Bowl, which the Cincinnati Bengals are playing in. On Wednesdays, we have Symbaroom, which is our long-running kind of flagship campaign. On Thursdays, we have the Cincinnati Chronicles. We also run a one-shot from various different systems on the first weekend of every month, which means that this weekend coming, there will be a game. It's going to be on Sunday. That's Sunday, the 6th of February. It'll start at 3 o'clock p.m. GMT, and that's going to be myself running Tales from the Loop, which I'm very excited about. It's a very lovely little system. Come join us for that. And with that, so that's all the promo done, pretty much. So let's start bringing on our players for Cincinnati Chronicles and start up our recap as to the events of last week. And first, let's bring on Holly. So Holly plays Mira, the Thanatos 90s goth, I guess.
Yeah,
absolutely. At the beginning of last week, you've basically been given a task to go around Cincinnati and check out a number of places where weird events, maybe magical events, had happened. And how did you set off doing that, Holly?
So we were given a list of locations that we needed to go to. So after a little bit of talking it through, we decided to go to the library first, but not before Mira gave the diner owner a little bit of good luck because he'd been nice to us. So it turned out the library was fairly close to us anyway. So we walked there and arrived at a large Gothic-looking building. Looked very fancy, other than the fact that it had smashed out windows, a collapsed ceiling, and a missing door. But we wanted to try and get in more subtly because the streets were quite busy. And although the library was fenced off with like some barriers or whatever, there were a few people like peering over the barriers to try and look in. So as subtlety was what we were after, we obviously went for Carolyn as our first choice. So yeah, we tried to do a teleport, or at least try and teleport all of us inside. Alas, Carolyn was able to make a doorway that allowed teleportation of organic beings, but only herself. So she nipped inside, and then the rest of us had to go around normally and use our legs. So Mirror,
outrageous.
oh yeah, disgusting use
Who's
of
got time for that?
Oh yeah. So yeah, Mirror used her entropy powers to basically get people to look the other way while we snuck in the front door and arrived in the library.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring on our second player, John. John plays Roth, our Cabal's Verbena survivalist, in a kind of wilderness way, not in a kind of like bunker kind of way. Yeah, how did that library work out, John?
It was a very nice library, apart from all the fire damage, of which there was quite a lot. But other than that, had been quite a nice building. It was a weird kind of temperature drop for a lot of us as we entered the building. Vague sounds of maybe a drip further somewhere in the building.
Not to correct you, but there wasn't a temperature drop immediately inside the library, and there was dripping all around because the water from the fire brigade had been doused all over everything. I think you're thinking of the basement.
I remember something weird happening to at least one of us when we first walked in.
Just a creepy feeling.
That. We explored around to see if we could find anything. Managed to come to a back room of offices, supply cabinet with things in that hadn't really been touched by the fire damage, and a door leading to stairs leading into creepy darkness underneath.
That is pretty much it. And let's bring on Chris. Chris plays Charlie, our Society of Ether engineer. Chris, talk to us about what was down in the basement.
Down in the basement was where the library keeps all of the forbidden or uninteresting books generally. It was very dark, and we did a little bit of... We made some fire cautiously and also found a torch, if I recall. So we had two sources of light going down. Charlie had felt the temperature drop and kind of had as a bit of a cosmologist and definitely an occultist, Charlie had kind of twigged to what might be going on here, and started kind of setting up to do some magic to build a device to kind of just part the veil a little bit and peer into whatever the Umbra, the Penumbra, and I suppose in this case the Dark Umbra.
Shadowlands, as others would call
Shadowlands. He built a little kind of, not goggles because that's too, but he built like a little frame.
A bit on the nose for the Society of Ether
on the nose,
make some goggles.
But he built a little frame to look through the space, and in the green tinged light of what light there was, he discovered that there was another presence in the library that was kind of beckoning us deeper in and was speaking to Charlie, and kind of telling us that he'd lost his book. And so we went a little further and eventually came to that we were still down in the basement, and someone realized that we could still hear dripping, which was weird because there was no longer any water. That's all above us. And then in a masterful spooky, I'm still getting like chills from it now, we ended up in the center of the library where just as we arrived, we heard the tapping stop as a book of children's fairy tales closed. Then I looked around and saw that there was one extra person in the party, which put the bejeebies right up me.
Yeah, that at that moment of you looking through the green tinge thing and panning across and suddenly realizing there was one extra person, that, in case anyone wonders, that was totally stolen from a film called The Descent. which was a scare so big in the cinema, the entire row of chairs rocked backwards and forwards, or with an audible screech on its mounting. And I saw it.
Amazing. So we talked. I made contact with this ghost. First time Charlie has dealt with a ghost, and I couldn't get any specific information about the nature of the book that was taken from him. But what he did say was that during a fire, some of the other children, 5 of the other children, were taken by someone. And if we find them, we shouldn't bring them back.
No,
So
he referred to them as the other boys, and seemed to be terrified of them. Yeah,
that was that. We kind of left in a terrified manner.
Yeah,
and went back up the stairs.
Yep, absolutely. And then at the top of those stairs, it was decided that a magical ritual of some form should be enacted. And to do that, we called upon, and to describe it, we also call upon Pierre, our final player of the Cabal, who plays Carolyn Zelrich, a cult of ecstasy magic dancer. Dance magica?
We don't mind which way round. It's all one and the same.
It's all good. It's all good. So you carried out that piece of magic, Pierre. How'd that work out for you?
Hello,
Pierre's back.
Yes. Oh, my internet picks its moments just as I do. So what happened was we decided we were going to do. I was going to do a ritual to try and see back in time what went on here. And so we thought it was best to do it in the most burnt out area of the library, which was just the main massive atrium. Roth provided some cover from nearby people who maybe have been watching by bending the light away from me, and as the lights dimmed, I began a sort of rhythmic dance that sent me into a sort of trance-like vision where time went backwards and forwards and was very confusing. And I was taken back to the moment when this fire was sort of originating. And it was very clear that something to do with time magic had been used in this area. Like the visions were not as they would be just looking at a mundane event. And the main takeaway was that there was a figure cowled in green, some strange robe, dragging like leashed monstrous humanoid figures, 5 of them, up through the library and out the front door. They were horrifying, but the figure more so somehow. And I was the most freaked out as the figure appeared to acknowledge me in some way.
Turned and looked directly at you. You
Yeah.
couldn't see anything under that dark green cowl,
Nope.
but you knew that they were looking at you.
Yeah.
So that is the point at which we will leap back in, as essentially Carolyn is still sort of you're sort of still in this trance-like state, although I think it's safe to say you're like losing your grasp on like the reality bending you're carrying out as this disturbing events happens to you. But a number of other things, as I say, there's the towering kind of a large inferno at the front of the building. You can see like the blurry shapes of presumably sleepers kind of like running around in panic. You can see this figure who's turned to acknowledge you and is now turning away. You can see the leashed monstrous forms of, well, let's just call them the other boys, being taken out of the front of the building. And as well, it occurs to you as the like time streams contract and you start to almost, I'm imagining a kind of sensation almost of, kind of end of 2001 of like everything contracting in front of you as you're like almost like falling backwards and yet forwards through time. You get the sense of a number of other things, a number of other spheres being worked in the area as you do so. But you know what? To get a proper grasp on them in your current state of, I think it's fair. I mean, I don't want to speak for your character, but I'm assuming you're a little bit panicked.
I think as soon as he looked at me, or it, I don't know actually. As soon as I was looked at, I think I stumbled. Just for a moment and kind of like almost lost the rhythm, and yeah, I was pretty freaked out by that.
So let's have a wits plus awareness roll, please.
Okay.
And because you were talking about being given a roll at difficulty 7 before the stream, I'm going to put it at difficulty 7.
Okay, perfect. So I'm rolling 4 dice. These are D10s that I am rolling.
That is good.
I rolled a 10, an 8, and a 1, so that's 1 success.
1 success. Okay, so for 1 success, I'm going to give you. I'm just going to give you 1 sphere that you can tell was being manipulated at this point in time, and that sphere is going to be. I'll roll a die for it. How about that? About which one you pick up. Like, it won't be time. You already know that time is being.
It just turns out that all of the spheres were being used, and I'm aware of one of them.
Sure. You are aware that whatever this figure was, they were manipulating multiple spheres. One of them was time, another was forces.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm going to allow you. You may have come to the conclusion yourself already, but I'll give you an intelligence plus, an intelligence plus awareness roll on top of that, and we'll put that at difficulty 7 as well.
Okay. Yep. So I roll that. Oh wow, that was a lot better. 9, 8, 8, 5. So 3 successes.
Look, that was a figure in the middle of a towering inferno of flame using forces. There's an obvious conclusion to come to.
Sure. Okay.
So you stumble, and to everyone else watching, I think it literally just looks like Carolyn stumbles for a second and then freezes for just the tiniest fraction of time, and then basically kind of, I think it's fair to say you're going to stagger forward and almost kind of like face plant on the floor, but just maybe catch yourself before you do so. As you sort of maybe still feel like you're moving, even though you're not, as your body gets used to the fact that it is still moving through time, just a lot slower.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, I can't, like, in order to catch myself, I definitely am moving way slower than I should be, and so it's really weird.
Carolyn?
Yeah, just give me a sec. There was some guy in a green robe dragging. They weren't boys. They were like, I don't know, monsters or some horrible creatures, humanoid. I don't know. He looks at me. I think he was like us. Well, I don't know if it was he actually. I didn't see him very well, but sorry, I'm a bit confused. He was using time and forces. I don't know. Someone pretty powerful seemed.
Well, yeah. If it was a green-robed figure pulling multiple spirits out of the floor while setting fire to a library, that sounds like a lot to handle.
And they looked at you.
Yeah,
they could intersect the pattern. So that's probably above our pay grade.
Yeah, it goes without saying, none of you have any notion how you would do that, how you would be able. Carolyn is just meant to be an observer.
Yeah.
When Carolyn uses those things to detect that, yeah, as Charlie says, way above your level.
Okay, I think the priority is we get this information back to the university. We can't famous 5 this one. We need to.
We still have 4 locations to visit.
Yeah, we've still got to go to the other places. I just hope that we don't run into them.
Yeah, we've got a limited amount of time, and to be honest, I don't think we know enough about this guy, apart from that he's powerful. This creature, this being.
Can everyone please give me a I think we'll go with cosmology here. An intelligence plus cosmology roll, please. Difficulty. We're going to make it difficulty 8, though. We'll make it quite challenging. I think a few people here have cosmology.
Despite having nothing in cosmology, I've got 1 success.
Three successes.
Anyone with the 1 success can basically at least intuit that any kind of magic work to this degree will have left traces of itself behind. I think Holly, that Mira has probably figured out that not only has it left traces behind, but those traces might be trackable. And Carolyn will have figured out, and it's appropriate given that you were the one who were there feeling that essentially, like, if you like, it is possible to work some kind of magic, you think, in order to sense those traces and perhaps divine maybe the direction that the figure was going, or at least a rough path that they took.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think I'll sort of like communicate the bits of this that maybe we could trace away.
We can try and track them. I don't know whether we want to get anywhere near them, though, because that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're all about
so you're saying you were saying there was forces involved, which might account for the fire.
Yeah, and how he was just sort of walking through it.
Charlie's kind of got a little notepad out at this stage in this kind of. So there's definitely forces. Obviously, this is a time user. We can, if we work together, put something together. I should be able to get his pattern quite easily. But if we can have more people involved, we might be able to figure out what else he was tugging on at the time, at least to some degree. Will you assist me?
Absolutely, of course, Charlie.
Right. Okay. Okay. Charlie kind of sets down his bag and he takes out another stick of chalk, and this time a little tiny kind of metal grater, like a little tiny novelty cheese grater, and starts grating the chalk into a small little, pretty much almost into his hand. And he's kind of thinking out loud and goes, okay, so I can handle working out the pattern. Karen, I need you to assist with, because I don't know anything about time and we don't know what else he was using. Oh, this is complex. Has anyone else studied forces properly?
Yeah.
Oh.
I could give you a hand with that.
I won't drop what it is, but I will say you have been given information that will tell you at least one of the sphere he is using.
Of course, spirit. Cool. Yeah, so I can. So obviously he was pulling the other whatever those things were behind him.
Ghostly.
Yeah.
ghouls.
Okay. I think I am the best leader for this, just based on my experience with spirit and the fact we need to get the pattern, and the only way we're going to do that is with Prime.
So,
Okay.
Chris, I think you did look up because I will confess I'm not entirely sure about how the multi-person magic works.
Yep.
Is that something you looked up before we?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm pretty au fait with it. So the
Cool.
way it's working, if we just peel all the fun off and talk about the boring numbers,
Sure.
I'm going to be conducting a ritual using Prime with Spirit and my 1 dot of forces. Holly will be contributing her forces to improve that. So she'll be an active contributor. That means she gets an arret roll and adds her successes to my pool. Pierre will be a passive contributor, which I believe, unless you also take an arret roll, but unless you botch, you only add 1 success. And if you botch, you screw everything up.
Right. I guess the question is, do we want time or correspondence? Because
correspondence is great, because the thing is,
correspondence would be very handy.
Yes, correspondence would be handy, and the good thing about that is I also have a dot in correspondence, which means you can be upgraded to an active contributor, which means all of your successes count into the total arret pool. So we've got 3 active contributors, and Roth, can I assume that you will help?
I also am familiar with forces, if I can help with that.
Okay, it looks like we've got a goer. Karen, could you mark a you've done the basic introduction, just a standard circle. Don't make it too big. We're trying to be subtle. I'll hand you the chalk.
I trace it langoriously over the whole, over the area that I had danced previously.
Yes, I'll kind of beckon everyone in and go, okay, I'm going to make a start. Okay, I'm going to make a start. You will see me working as I'm working. Please assist however you see fit. I am not easily distracted. Charlie is going to, let's see, how do we etherize this a bit? Charlie's got a little what else can I have in my bag of tricks? Actually, Charlie's going to disassemble the gel container he had earlier, which he was using to look at the ghosts. He's going to keep he's going to basically strap the green gel kind of over one of his eyes, but he's going to use the gel frame and he's going to hold it kind of in front of him, and he's going to start walking kind of clockwise, holding it at arm's length, but so it's at a fixed place in space. Gradually, he's going to kind of just drizzle some of the dust he ground out from the chalk through. And he's going to discern the patterns of the chalk in the air are going to tell him about the parts of the tapestry that have been pulled by Prime. They're also going to tell him a bit about the forces. His vision is going to give him the information about the spirits, and hopefully a little bit about the correspondence of the matter as well.
Okay, so the way in which this works then, I think you said, is so everyone has an arete roll here.
Yeah.
And the successes kind of accumulate, but if anyone botches, the whole thing's botched.
If anyone botches, the whole thing botches. I forget. I might, let me double check what happens on failures.
Double check. So let me have a look at the top. What is the highest sphere we're using here? It's probably
Prime
not that
3.
high.
Oh, it's probably not Prime 3, actually.
No, you're sensing a pattern, albeit one that's lost through time, but like all of it's just sensory, isn't it? So is it in fact just level 1?
I think no. Level 1 would tell me that there's magic going on. Level 2 will give me the actual pattern.
Okay, so let's say
level 1 tells me it's happening. Level 2 gives me the address of the magician.
Okay, then let's say the highest sphere we're using is Prime 2. And I'm assuming that the difficulty for everyone is the same, because I don't want to personalize each role. That would be a bit crazy.
A little bit excessive.
So this is not vulgar. So I guess it's coincidental. Although there are people who can. No, we'll say that Roth's like bending light is still in effect. That's fine. So let's say it's coincidental, because you're not going to. No, it's vulgar. because you're seeing through the thing. If someone was there and looking, they would see what you're seeing too, right? Isn't that what we did with the ghost down in the basement?
The portal.
Am I projecting it? I think. Okay. Do you know what? That's a good point. I'm actually going to, because with level 2, I can do body of light which allows me to create kind of holograms out of Prime. Which would allow me to kind of create an image of this. And
if you're going to go vulgar without witnesses, you might as well make it a fancy one, right? So, yeah, sure, let's do that. So that's vulgar without witnesses. So that's going to start at a difficulty of 6. We are using a personalized instrument, so that takes it down to 5. We are, I would say, so that takes it down to 5. I would say it hasn't got a thing for doing a group ritual, but I'd say that probably does bump up the difficulty. So I'm going to bump that up to 6, and it's a distant or hidden target or subject. So I'm going to say that bumps up to 7. And then how many spheres are we managing here? Because I'm going to say that actually some of these are different effects.
So correspondence, 1, 2, 3, prime, 4. Forces,
and spirit as well.
Spirit.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we also doing time or?
Yeah, but I only need every 2 effects. So,
Right.
And you know what? It doesn't have the ritual. I thought it was going to be a really low difficulty, but it actually won't be because of those effects. So you know what? This is difficulty 8. If you want to spend quintessence, obviously any quintessence you spend just affects your roll. Yeah. And also, don't forget you have some quintessence in the TAS that the professor gave you.
Yes. Also, I was just going to wonder how we were feeling about spending willpower on this one. If just one of us botching is going to mess it all up.
The entire thing.
Yeah.
So you can react to a botch by spending a willpower to force it through, if I recall correctly, in ritual magic.
I'm
desperately looking for the page, but I remember seeing that bit.
I will spend it before I roll, so that this is not a question.
It's not your fault.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm also going to spend. What was it? Difficulty 8.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend 2 quintessence.
Okay.
I'm spending 1 quintessence.
Remember that you can only spend quintessence at one point to the level of your avatar. So.
Yeah.
I'm dropping 3 quintessence on this one.
Okay. This is very worthwhile. This is a very important role for you. I fully put my thumbs up on this act.
So it's rolling arete, right?
Arete, but yes.
Arete. God. Oh, my brain just doesn't want to say arete. Cool.
Here we go. Woo-hoo-hoo! That's 2 successes.
1, 2. And how does Pierre do?
I got 3,
you can't
2,
botch.
1.
But you can't botch because you've got 1
botch.
Success. It's just a failure, but you can't botch.
It's just a failure.
But that's fine.
Didn't you spend a willpower?
I spent a willpower on.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's why he can't botch.
Yes.
Because he's got a success. So
yeah,
it's just a failure.
For some reason in my head, 3 was suddenly a success for Pierre and Pierre only.
No.
Magic.
So let's go with so I think the total number of successes there was 6. 5 or 6. It's not going to make any difference between them. But we will describe that. But before I forget, everyone take a point of paradox. Because it's vulgar and you succeeded. So take a point of paradox.
Did my familiar arrive at any point?
I believe I said that he will flap down from the sky as you leave the library. So
okay, cool.
Not
right,
quite yet.
Fine. I'll soak that paradox up then.
So, okay, Charlie. You feel the strands coming together apart, kind of those spheres running through the ritual. You feel you kind of reach out and grasp for each of them for the advantages they may give you that you don't have the knowledge or intuition for yourself. And the only one that seems vague and like like a thread running through you that you're trying to grasp off, but it's kind of wispy and flittering away from you. You get a kind of a sense of the personality of Carolyn trying to focus it for you, but there's something there, maybe still a sense of anxiety and panic over what she just saw, and that kind of escapes you slightly, but you have some understanding of time yourself, right? At least level 1, and you do not. Okay, that's fine.
I have 0 time.
That's fine. Does either of Mira or Roth have time? Roth has time. Okay. And essentially, in front of you, kind of around the chalk, sort of spinning up in glittering light from the ground, is an image essentially of what Carolyn described. That figure robed in dark green with the monstrous beings leashed and a roaring inferno around them as they step away from the library. And then the kind of glittering light spins and turns and looks to be almost kind of like, it's like a holding pattern, like it's trying to find something, to trace something, to tug you forwards. And you find yourself looking at what is essentially like a misty, silvery trail lifted up from the ground in front of you that sort of slowly twinkles and drifts apart and falls to the ground into nothingness. Except on your through did you say the gel is kind of like fixed over your eye at this point? Yeah, you can still see it through that, and it's not going away. You have a trail, a silver thread.
Perfect.
Okay, we got it. I got him. I got it.
Nice.
Let's just skip ahead because we're terribly worried about misgendering this incredibly intimidating figure. But I am happy to say that when you, especially when Caroline encountered the figure, you got a sense of the individual as well. Somehow, kind of a sense of them through that foreboding image. We are fine to use masculine terms.
Okay.
I think I got him. Whatever he is. We can follow this. Okay, now we need to get out, I suppose. Thank you very much, everyone. God, that was terrifying.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna rub out the chalk on the floor and gather up my little black candles that I'll have put down for my forces stuff, just to make it not seem like there was a weird occult ritual going on in this library.
Sure. So I think it's safe to say, you can clamber out over that wreckage near the door. I'm not going to make you roll for that again. And you step out onto the street, kind of like a few of those onlookers still there, kind of looking at you in surprise, almost as if you just stepped out of nowhere because they couldn't see you in there a second ago. And now they can. And as you step out, a couple of you kind of are hit by little splats of water, and you look up to see a storm cloud rolling in overhead, a very unseasonable looking storm cloud that quickly darkens the sky, and everyone on the street kind of looks up in confusion and annoyance and starts to dash for doorways and cars and generally away, because the rain really starts to come down, and down with the rain, spiraling, a sodden looking bedraggled raven who swoops down and perches on Mira's shoulder just for a second, just for long enough to say wet, 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 and flaps over then to a kind of a nearby bollard on the street and just hunches over there looking kind of miserable. Charlie, the trail leads to the northwest.
Okay, I suggest we follow this, and if it intersects with any of the other sites we need to look at, we break on the way.
Seems like a good idea.
Agreed.
Okay, are we just following this trail through the Cincinnati streets now? We have no other kind of goals other than that, or do we want to have any conversations or anything on the way, or do we want to kind of just zoom to forward to the relevant bits.
I will slip Carolyn another trail bar as we walk.
Okay, and
Nice, fine.
I'm gonna, because I've got one as well. I'm gonna break off a little bit and feed it to Vil, because
Yeah,
And
he
you're
gratefully
Vil,
accepts. And as he's like flicker, obviously he has to kind of talk to you quite stealthily. While sorry, actually, did we determine whether he can be heard by other people?
we'll say that
what
he
we
can
penned
be, just because.
Yeah, because I think like if he can talk to you, it should. I think it should come with the inconvenience of people might see the Raven talking to you.
Yeah, exactly.
As he does, he kind of flits across the road and across the pavement in front of you bit by bit on little perches, and little snatches of his gossiping reach your ears as he tells you, yeah, to the north there was a fire. It seems to be mostly put out now. There's a big column of smoke. And there's lots of humans nearby, although not as many as he might expect, considering the massive amount of wreckage there is there. That's basically it. Like, there's nothing going on there, it's just kind of a big ruined building. Obviously, he doesn't maybe maintain quite the intelligence to go, it's definitely a manufacturing plant, you know what I mean? Like, so, but that's the impression you get.
Sure. Okay, cool. Well, I will thank him for his efforts. And yeah, he can just fly alongside us as we walk up.
Sure.
Geographically, what direction were we going again?
Northwest.
Away? That's toward the factory, isn't it?
No.
The
the factory's kind of directly north. But are you checking the locations on the map?
I will be. Wait, who had the map?
It's a bit wet, so I've stashed all the paper items in my bag for the meanwhile. I'm just kind of occasionally flitting up the gel and taking a little furtive glance to make sure we're on the right road, and then kind of putting it down by my side again so we don't catch too many weird glances.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Maybe perhaps we'll pull in somewhere where there's shelter. I don't know if there's a garage forecourt or something like that.
There's doorways and trees and various things that you can find on the way. In fact, why don't we say, there's kind of an awning of an old, what seems to be kind of maybe an abandoned shop building, and there are a couple of people kind of there now. There's like a morose-looking couple of kind of punk teens and a couple of kind of older homeless guys, and they're all kind of like crammed in under this awning, but you can kind of shove yourself in there as well with some kind of suspicious glances from them, and definitely be dry enough to have a look at the map.
Yeah, so we'll just cross-reference where we're going with where on the map we expect the items to be.
So I won't make you make a roll for it. It's just reading a map. You are about, you've walked for about maybe a couple of kilometers or so at this point, and unless the direction of the silver thread massively veers off from the trajectory it's going, you are walking directly towards a gas station.
Okay. Looks like it's going to take us to the site of the gas station robbery.
Well, I think it was more of a massacre based on what the papers were saying.
Oh,
come on! We can't hang around, he says, suddenly realizing we're in quite a crowded area.
Can I just double check with Matt? What did the papers say happened at the gas station?
It referred to it as a spree killing.
Right.
And I know you're thinking, should they know it was a spree killing? You'll find out.
Yeah, so we'll get out of the shelter and carry on down the road.
Sure. So you're walking kind of hunched over now. The rain is really coming down. Are you? Is anyone doing anything to try and avoid being quite so drenched, or is everyone just kind of resigned to trudging through this kind of vertical water with small holes in?
I think I try and sort of, I see that it's depressing, and I kind of try and lighten the mood and jump in some puddles and kick things around and be like, look, it's just water. It's just water. It's fine. Everything's. Oh God, it's cold though. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh.
I will be. My primary concern is with the wettables, so I'm going to kind of be with my bag, kind of protecting it.
I don't think there is any magic I could do that wouldn't be incredibly obvious, like redirecting the wind or whatever. So I'm just going to take like an oilskin slicker out of my backpack. And
Okay.
Be dry the sleep away.
Yeah, and I've literally just got like a sleeveless hoodie on under my like leather jacket that I've got, so I'm just going to have the hood up. But
And
other than that-
presumably, as a 90s goth, you are only happy when it rains anyway.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I'm jumping in the puddles.
Me and Myra should bond over this.
Phil, however, is not happy that it's raining. Even though
No.
he preens his feathers regularly, it's still not nice.
No, it's not enough. And obviously, this is rain in a world of darkness, major city. Like, it's not nice stuff. It's greasy and comes with its own kind of like slightly pungent smell to it.
Especially the night after several large notable fires,
including one at a place with a lot of chemicals.
Oh no. I do not like this rain.
So yeah, I don't think most of the other me and Chris are old enough to probably not for it to happen to us, but certainly when me and Chris were growing up, there were places in Europe where if it rained during the day, the kids would be taken back inside the school. So
how dare you date me like this?
Lovely acid rain. So you make your way through the streets of Cincinnati and onwards to what seems to be a much more kind of down market area. Let's put it politely like that, where there are a number of abandoned houses, some kind of rough-looking housing projects, and you emerge onto a long street with kind of mostly boarded up, sporadic houses on one side, and further down. You can see a few commercial buildings and what appears to be a gas station. It's a gas station where all the lights are off. However, even in the kind of the darkened, probably mid-morning that you're walking through, there is no one else on walking around as far as you can see. There's just a few cars passing by, but there is one individual stood just outside the gas station where there are bollards wrapped in police tape kind of all the way around it, and there is what looks like a fairly large sort of slightly chunky cop who's there in kind of like rain, like big city official rain gear of like a big hat and like plastics and stuff like that, kind of just looking a bit miserable and hunched over and kind of looking around in a bit of a bored fashion.
That I will say in hushed tones before we're anywhere near his hearing range. Looks like a man who could be easily distracted.
Is there any way that we are there any? No, that's I'm going to stop myself from asking a very stupid question about donut shops.
Yeah, sure. There are no donut stores in this. There's no donut stores in the World of Darkness.
Okay.
Oh God.
This is why they're so miserable.
Awful.
Yeah. Any of you got any ideas?
I might have one, and I'm just gonna get out a packet of cigarettes from my like jacket pocket, and I'm just gonna say I could try and distract him just with my effortless charm and see if that works.
Well,
yeah,
it's as good a plan as any. how exposed is the area in general? Like,
pretty exposed. Like there's a lot of open kind of like small patches of wasteland and like a lot of space between either the commercial buildings or the individual houses. Like it's generally quite an open area. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if we can see it from here, but could we maybe find a route around the back?
It probably looks like you could, yeah.
all right. I guess I follow Roth around the back.
Do you want a distraction, or are we all just going together?
I'd appreciate a distraction.
See what it
Literally,
looks
if
like.
at any point he just turned round, he would definitely see people approaching from the rear.
Okay.
Keeping his
in-
attention is a valuable thing.
Okay, in which case, while the rest of them go off around the back, I'm gonna walk up to the police officer.
Sure. So Charlie, are you going around the back with Roth and Carolyn? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, it's easily done. You know, there's just like all you need to do is further up the road, kind of like cross over behind one of like the kind of little mini marts and like sort of battered, you know, maybe like a battered old tech shop and stuff like that, and just walk along behind in like the kind of a rough, it's not even like an alleyway, it's like just a patch of rough ground that's framed on one side by the building or further by the street, and on the other side by just a poorly maintained chain link fence, and you just walk along there until you're behind the gas station. It's no big deal. Mira, as you kind of approach, you see kind of the cop takes quite a while to kind of see you approach because he's just kind of hunched over miserably. And then as you you tell me, how do you approach the guy?
So I'm probably just going to walk up and immediately just say, "Excuse me, do you happen to have a light?" And I'm just going to take out a cigarette.
He's kind of like big and heavy set with a sort of kind of big babyish sort of face, and says, I guess I've got one somewhere around here. I don't smoke, but why do you? He kind of like peers at you slightly myopically and looks up and down to take you in and says, "What, are you interested in all the murder stuff?"
I mean, I read about it in the paper, but I wasn't going to ask. But you brought it up, so what's been going on? All I heard was that there was a spree killing.
He gets out kind of the lighter and he's just kind of repeatedly clicking it and trying getting the flint to catch, with not much good result. And you know what? He seems like a pretty amiable, bored guy. But why don't you give me a roll to see kind of how much you get out of him? You know.
Sure.
So I think this is going to be I don't think you're not coming to this honestly. So it's definitely manipulation rather than charisma, and probably subterfuge.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, difficulty 6 though.
Okay, one success.
Yeah, that's fine. He kind of goes, yeah, some psycho just seems to cut up a bunch of people and then burn them in a dumpster around the back.
Jesus. Okay.
Who would do such a thing?
Who indeed? Who indeed? Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to say, well, okay, that's a lot. So was it the fire that like alerted you, or because I imagine that must have created a pretty big plume of smoke, although I guess there was the other big plume of smoke yesterday as well.
I don't know. I think someone called it in, but they didn't get me on the scene until the morning. They don't call me unless they need something watched.
Yeah.
Some kind of glorified security guard.
No, it's a thankless job, especially in weather like this.
Yeah, he's still trying to kind of flick the flick the lighter. And while he's doing that, why don't we have a roll from the other three to get in unobtrusively? And you know what? I just want to roll from the one of you who's got the biggest dice pool. I think that's fine. And I think that's probably going to be Charlie, because Charlie has a bunch of points in arcane, if I recall correctly. Is that right, Chris? Oh, 1 point. Well, why doesn't everyone tell me what their wits plus stealth pool is, including their arcane? Apart from Mirror, obviously.
8.
Okay, in that case, Roth, it's definitely you who gets to roll. It's only going to be difficulty 6.
Okay. Stealth and arcane. Ooh. Does my wit speciality of quick thinking factor in?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go ahead and take those explosions.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you say difficulty 6?
I did say difficulty 6.
9.
He's just werewolfed it.
That'll do. So, so yeah, you manage to kind of like, you hustle the others across the broken ground from the nearest, and let's say it's that kind of battered old tech shop, from the nearest area. Just, you even find there's a section of the police tape that's kind of come apart away from one of the bollards and is just kind of flapping loose. You just kind of duck through, well, not duck, just nip through there and go over to the back side of the gas station. You can see there is a kind of a doorway there that's actually slightly ajar, so just open. And next to it is a blackened and thoroughly burnt dumpster that has a real bad smell coming out of it.
Any sign of the trail, Charlie?
The trail basically sort of, I'd say, like didn't evaporate, but sort of came apart out near the front of the gas station. So you can't something happened out the front of the gas station, you think, that maybe evaporated some of the magic that was being used. But yeah, the trail will only take you so far,
Sure.
I don't like it here. Can we?
We're going into the
You
station.
were fine with the spooky. You were fine with the spooky library, but you don't like it in the gas station.
I think I know what I'm smelling.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Roth? Why don't you give us a perception plus survival roll?
Yeah, I was going to say, as someone who's burnt animal corpses before, well, animal carcasses, perception plus survival.
Mm-hmm.
You're not talking about a burger there, are you, John?
No. I'm probably not talking about animal sacrifice. We don't do that, Carolyn. That's preposterous. To cancel 2 successes.
Yeah, that's incinerated meat is the smell that's coming from the dumpster.
So, is there a way in? Is there an unobtrusive way into the actual building from here?
Yeah, like I said, there's a door ajar at the back.
I think we may as well get in, if for nothing else, and to get out of the rain.
I'll get in to get away from the smell.
Yep.
How about that?
So, the 3 of you step into the rear of the gas station. The room you emerge in is kind of a like a staff room with a number of lockers, all of which have their doors hanging open on one side of the room. There is nothing. The only thing that is untoward here is in the dim light from the stormy daylight outside. You can see that several of the lockers are smeared copiously with some kind of dark stain. Well, all the players pretend to be surprised here, obviously.
Oh, I really don't like this. Oh,
The
God.
smell is different in here and definitely dimmer, but still unpleasant. There's a rich kind of like sodden ironish scent to the room.
There was a lot of blood here.
What?
I get my pen torch out and kind of like peer into a couple of the lockers to see if there's anything in them.
Inside them, no. The answer is no. There's
Okay.
nothing inside them. No possessions. No nothing. The only thing you kind of see, you see more kind of drying splashes of, as you correctly intuited, blood, and in kind of the occasional where the clouds break a little overhead outside, you catch that a couple of them seem to have like maybe bits of fabric caught in the hinges, as if clothes have been pulled out of there quite sharply.
I think I'm pretty disturbed in general, so I think I'm just going to stand in the corner away from blood lockers and just kind of meditate and just try and like recenter myself. And
Sure. Well, while Pierre does that, also his mic and cam go offline. Oh, he's back. He's back. There he is.
I was just saying I was going to sit in a corner and meditate and try and recenter myself.
No problem. We got that. Do you want to kind of make a roll for that, or is that just kind of a role play thing you're doing?
I don't know what I'm going to achieve apart from maybe like thinking about why I'm here, or like actually
Sure,
no, probably yeah.
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you. Well, if you want to make a roll, make a roll. Otherwise, I think it's the idea that Charlie and Roth are going to proceed further into the gas station.
Yeah, I need a moment.
There is a door leading to a little corridor to the left of the room.
Question for Matt. If I were, as we're in the dry, how long would it take for me to use the tasks that I have? Is that something I can do quickly, or something?
Yeah, tasks can be used pretty quickly. Yeah, you just absorb the essence from it when you're holding it.
Okay, before we proceed further, I'm going to do that.
Okay, yeah, sure. Oh, I see what you mean. I think you would more traditionally use it while you're actually using magic.
Right.
Kind of draw it out and into the... Like, you can't... I don't think you can draw it out and just absorb it into yourself. I think you have to channel it into magic.
I think
I could be wrong.
I think that's a prime effect.
Okay.
Got it. So it's a battery, not a charging pack.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll just proceed on.
Okay, and Charlie, are you following Roth?
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, one thing I would like to grab before I go here is I'm going to try and dislodge one of the little bits of fabric that we spotted that are caught in the thing. I'm just going to pocket that for maybe use later on.
Sure, why not? Could be useful for synthetic magic. So you emerge to a little corridor. The corridor has 3 doors in it, one to the left, one directly ahead of you, and one to the right. The one to the right, all the doors are open. The one to the right is lit slightly by a kind of flickering whitish light. Not an unnatural looking light or anything, just, there's something producing light in that room. Everything else is really quite dark because there are no outside windows here. And although you've got the door open behind you, the day has become really quite dark outside now. Are you just kind of going to generally proceed down the corridor?
I think we should go and check out the light.
That sounds right.
Sure. Well, I'll describe the other rooms to you as you walk forward anyway, because the doors are open. The first door you pass on your left is a storage room that has a number of kind of boxes and stuff in it. It has some kind of cratered hole in the ceiling, and on the floor is like a large length of stained pipe. Oh, and there's probably more dark stains on the floor there. Just so we don't mess with continuity, I think I'm right in saying that the coterie didn't clean up back here, right? They just cleaned the main main area of the gas station.
I thought we cleaned up the lockers and the storeroom, but the lockers and the staff room, but not the storeroom, because it was where we hid the bodies and the sheriff just locked the door.
You know what? You are right, but let's
But I
Yeah,
also
'cause
think
other
it was
people would be
Pierre's
tidying it
himbo
up.
character that cleared up the staff room.
What do you think?
Sure.
Was
I think
maybe
didn't someone
not-
mess up a roll of something to do it? I can't remember. Hey,
Can't remember.
if we have to retcon, we retcon, and if it's a break in continuity, someone's been using magic here. Reality might not be what it once was.
Yeah.
So there we go. If that's the only continuity error I make in these 5 stories, then we should all be very grateful. Yeah, you pass that room, you pass what appears to be kind of maybe a little manager's office with like some security, like a computer and some security camera gear and stuff like that. And you see that the flickering light in the room that you emerge to with the door on the right hand side, it is the main garage area where there's like a little mini mart and the counter where you pay for stuff. There is a television, a small black and white television on the counter, which is just on, but silent.
On to static or on to an actual station?
Onto a station. Looks like local news.
I wanna check. I wanna check if what our mark did here. I'll go over to the little television and kind of start kind of just it's safe enough to work in here. I don't have to kind of, or am I kind of trying to keep a low profile to avoid being visible from the outside?
I think it's fine. I think the cop outside is sufficiently distracted by Mira. It's notable as soon as you step into this area, there's a very distinctive kind of bleachy chemical smell.
Got it.
Like it's
So,
been very thoroughly cleaned sometime recently.
I'm going to go and busy myself with the television, and I'm going to attach my little the little green gel I've been using for quite a lot of these effects, especially considering we just used it for a linked effect. I'm going to have a little bit of chalk out and be making some notes as well.
Well, as you do that, let's check what Roth is doing. By the way, have you entered this room as well?
Yeah, I've entered along behind Charlie. I'm now. Roth is partly trying to figure out if he can do anything with the blood and the life sphere, but I don't think I have
Sure.
correlating spheres to go with it.
Charlie, as you step forward to kind of use the television as part of your, because that was the idea, right? That you're going to use the television as kind of a viewing thing. As you step forward and start kind of preparing things around it, the television just kind of blinks for a second to static, kind of loud static, because obviously the volume was down before, but the static coming on for some reason cuts through it, and kind of it depends how nervous both of you are, I guess, in this kind of darkened area, as it just kind of goes and then returns to the news report.
Yeah, I'm changing my tack a little bit. I'm not taping it to
the channel changes.
Geld.
The channel changes and the volume is up, and it starts flicking through different channels with different people talking different. Strangers to the city of Cincinnati should beware, otherwise danger.
Charlie?
Let me go. Or who sends this warning? Can you respond? Okay, if they're not going to talk to me, I'll get the information by more traditional means. Pulls out some bits and pieces again, gets to work. And so again, kind of roughly the same effect as last time, but maybe obviously not as excessive. And specifically, I'd like to know a little bit more about the spiritual changes in the local pattern. And I want to know who's been mucking with this television, what their pattern is, and are any spirits involved in the local area at the time.
Yeah. As you're doing this, Carolyn, you're back still in the locker room, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I heard any of the weird static.
You might have heard it vaguely, but it wasn't
But
like,
just like,
you know,
oh,
it was
maybe
quite
somebody's
loud.
messing
But it
with-
just sounds like someone changing a television channel.
Someone was changing the TV in there for some reason.
Yeah. As you're kind of trying to center yourself in the corner, there is a bang. The back door has slammed shut. Could just be the wind. It's quite windy outside.
Okay.
It's perfectly feasible that it's the wind.
I nevertheless
Quickly walk over to the door and just sort of try the handle and pull on it.
At first, it doesn't give, and then you kind of tug a bit harder, and it comes open. And
Anyone
kind
on the
of
other
water,
side?
you know, like rain and wind kind of blow inside in a gust.
That was a loud bang, right?
It was a pretty, it was the sound of, you know, a door slamming quite hard.
Okay. Can I
I'm
pop
going
my
to go
head
check
out?
on Carolyn.
Yeah. Can I pop my head out the gas station and see just if Mira and the police officer are still? I suppose now would be a really bad time to come out, but I don't think about this. Are they still preoccupied?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like maybe Roth and Carolyn will bump into each other in that little corridor, right?
Sorry, I was saying I was just going to pop my head out the door that had just closed to
sorry.
see if the distraction was still ongoing with Mira.
Yeah,
Myra.
sure.
Is it Myra or Mira?
Mira, right?
Yeah, mirror.
Mira. You did, you can do that. You take a couple of paces and kind of look around, and Mira is still talking to the cop. Roth, the locker room is empty and the door is swinging open.
I'm going to poke my head out the door.
Carolyn is there, kind of looking around the
Oh
front.
my... Roth, don't sneak up on people like that.
It didn't
Oh my...
sneak. Why are you slamming the door?
I didn't slam the door. I think it's just the wind.
Roth, the door creaks closed behind you with a click. Charlie, tell me exactly what you're doing right now.
Spooked but determined. I am building a little. Once again, this gel is my favorite thing of today. Just a little framework around the television, not touching the television. Like I've almost built a little exclusion zone with some outlines of very light outlines of dustings of chalk, and then I'm kind of getting ready to begin channeling my energy for this effect.
Okay, as you're doing this, you're kind of like focusing on kind of chalking your signs and symbols, and you are vaguely aware that one of your companions has kind of like stepped back into the room through the door. Kind of just, you know when you sense someone enter the room just outside of your line of vision.
Everything okay? Still focusing on my work, not looking around.
No response.
I think I'll look around. I'm not going to start. Yeah, no.
There's no one there.
And the place is now silent. I can't hear anyone else moving around.
Oddly silent. There's a sudden sharp drift of cold air over the back of your neck, as if someone whose breath is somehow cold has just...
Okay, so that's. I think we need to continue with. I'd love to go and check where everyone is. Okay. Hello? Who are you? The one who warned us? Okay. The chalk circle is changing tactics again. I'm using prime, mostly spirit 2, but prime 3 spirit 2 for a 2 effect. One of the effects is to engage spirit speech. The other effect is to enchant my clothing and give me some mitigation to damage.
Sure. As you are starting this, in one instant, several of the tinned foodstuffs and cleaning products ping off the shelves nearby and ricochet towards you. Are you going to try and dodge them in any way?
I'll give it a college try.
Sure. Give me a dexterity plus dodge roll, please. Difficulty, I'd say 8, because you don't see these coming.
That's a single dice, and it's a 4.
It's a 4. Well then, can you give me a stamina roll, please?
That's 4 dice with 2 successes.
Yeah, that's fine. A couple of the kind of tins impact on you, but kind of don't cause any damage. Just drop to the ground. In the instant after this has happened, and you kind of registered that this shouldn't have happened. There is a voice behind you, and this one, unlike the other, which was more kind of, the other one was kind of similar to the ghost in the libraries in a way, in that it was kind of like something you felt as much as you heard. This is different. This is someone directly behind you, audibly, and kind of, you feel the vibration of the physical vibration of the voice behind you, saying, "We'll take your bones, you little fuck."
I'm going to try and get out of the gas station by the nearest exit as quickly as possible.
That would be the front door.
Yep.
Okay, let's cut back to... I think we'll actually cut back to Mira for a second, because you're engaged in quite a boring conversation with quite a boring individual who's having a very boring day. He's kind of not dropped any further details about that kind of case to you, but it's kind of, you get the impression maybe trying to like impress you slightly by just saying, oh yeah, I've looked over all kinds of places, some gory stuff here, and since that just kind of
Sure,
he's not like hitting on you, but he's just trying to, I don't know,
in which
be
case,
a big guy, whatever.
I'll do the classic tactic of distracting a police officer, which is getting them to talk about their like worst horror story in terms of what case they've worked on. Yeah,
absolutely. Honestly, it sounds like this guy hasn't really worked on any cases. It seems to be maybe...
I'm assuming this guy has worked on basically nothing interesting. I'm just trying to get him to talk.
No, he seems to be more or less a glorified security guard who's just posted places because he's clearly kind of a whiner and maybe also not terribly good at his job. Incidentally, I can see from the repeated smiles whenever we cut to this guy that John realizes the reference I'm making with him. So, we'll talk about that after the stream, folks. But what you do see is Charlie suddenly kind of not appearing but before they were being, he was being a bit subtle about it. Now Charlie is at the door to the gas station and is kind of like, you know what? I think it's actually open. I think it's actually open.
Can I see this?
I'm
presuming that I'm facing the police officer and behind him.
And he's got his back to the And Charlie, you're not like screaming or anything, are you? Like you're just like bursting out of this door.
Yeah, I'm basically bursting out of the door, and I'm going to keep running until I get at least 2 states over. But I will have enough of a head on me to kind of angle around the back of the building, I think.
Sure. I think that's fine. Yeah, and you know what? Everyone's done such a good job with the roll so far. I don't even think, like, it's a little bit of a distance. I don't think the cop even heard you as you just kind of, like, dash off in a way. Roth and Carolyn, just as, like, have you been trying to get back inside?
So I think, like, I've been like, so, where's Charlie?
He's still inside.
And there's nothing in there?
A television.
Okay.
Charlie goes quite quietly running past you to behind the back of the nearby tech store over there. And Charlie, are you going to go kind of stop at that point and catch your breath or anything?
I as someone with stamina 4, I don't think I need to right now, and I am still pretty. So
sure.
No.
Yeah, so you make your way. Yeah, Charlie doesn't seem to be particularly slowing down.
At this point, I will. I'll follow Charlie as well. Okay, I guess this is run away. Is the policy?
What? Charlie?
To be for Charlie to be heard by you, you'd have to shout quite loudly.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, walk over. I guess if he's done.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
think-
Charlie's not literally just going to keep running, or our adventure
think
will
he's
never end.
No,
done.
I mean, obviously he's done with whatever he's doing in the gas station. And
Yeah,
that's why he
sure.
left.
Sure. So let's say a couple of like buildings over, Charlie comes to a stop, right?
Yeah. Somewhere just maybe off the street, kind of whatever passes for an alley around this low density
Yeah, around
area,
kind
just
of tightly at the
up
back,
against the
out
wall.
of sight of the gas station.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of not white as a sheet, and Charlie is pretty darn pale.
So
What
can
did you
I
see?
can I interject by saying that as soon as I see Charlie sprinting out of the gas station down the street, can I like whip my head around as if I'd heard something and then say, "Did you hear that?" to the police officer? It sounded like glass breaking.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And he kind of turns around and goes, "Oh, geez," and kind of like starts kind of tromping over to the gas station. And I think the door is still kind of like swinging.
I mean, I turned behind me as in away from the gas station, trying to get him to go away. So that I can run towards where Charlie just came
I
out.
don't think he's leaving his post from the sound of glass breaking. So he just kind of he kind of shrugs as if he doesn't really care if glass breaks.
If I can't get him to leave, then I'll just continue the distraction.
Sure. So I think the three of you probably need to have a talk.
Charlie?
I think one of the spirits is in there. It's powerful, and I'm not going back. It's the one that gave the warning via the television, I think. Hostile.
Warning via the television.
Yeah, neat trick.
But you think it was one of the ones dragged up?
I think maybe that it's hanging around. Might explain why the trail went dead around here as well.
Just the one of them?
I didn't have time. They didn't even have the manners to let me finish my work.
Is there anything we can do about it?
Well, the place has already been burned. I don't think we can burn it twice.
Perhaps we should
Maybe Mira could do something.
Yeah.
I would caution against. I don't know. This feels even more out of our league than the man who could look backwards through time and forwards through time.
It's okay, Charlie. You'll be okay. Don't worry. I put my hand on Charlie's shoulder and try and like calm him down.
Charlie, can you give me an intelligence plus cosmology roll, please? Let's bump up the difficulty to 7, given your current state.
You will have to try harder than that. 5 successes.
Okay. The silver thread dissipated out on the street. It might just be that you lost track, or it might be that whatever magic was committed on the street in roughly that spot. And then, you were following a particular effect, right? That effect ended there, and therefore maybe it could be the site of another little time dance. That's all I'm saying.
I'm Okay, I'm getting worried about that police officer as well.
How so?
I don't know if he's. I don't know. I'm just not sure he's what he thinks. What he looks like he is. The effect ended there. Whatever happened in there, I think there's still spirits bound in there. I
mean,
this guy can work at range. I don't know. I want to go home.
it's okay.
It's okay.
I mean, I can
It's evidently
try and
not
have another
okay.
look.
Empirically, okay is the last thing this is.
Yeah, but it's like an expression, you know? It's gonna be okay even though it's not okay. Yeah, I mean, I can if I have a bit of space and some time, I can try and see what happened here.
I mean, there aren't many cars passing. Like, if you do it, the cop is definitely going to see you doing it. But it's not vulgar, so he's just going to see a crazy kid dancing in the rain. You know?
Look, just in case, Roth, if I look disturbed or if I stumble like I did before, can you try and shake me out of it?
Yes.
Thanks. That guy in green has me all messed up. Okay, then I guess I will be trying to do like roughly. So is the exact plot point that that magic stopped sort of really close to the police officer, or is it?
It's pretty close. It's a little distance away. Like if you emerge onto the street, you can see kind of Mira still kind of like looking quite bored, it's probably safe to say now, and kind of nodding as this cop is talking. Yeah, if you do it and he's where he is, he'll definitely see you doing it. But like I say, it's like, you know,
yeah, I guess I'm just
the magic. It's just
sure.
Karen,
it's just weird.
If you're going back there, or if you're going back, then can you humor me for a moment? I don't want you going. I don't want you going unprotected.
I don't want to go at all.
I'm gonna pull like a little length of 3 little lengths of ribbon from my backpack, and I'm going to start just kind of tying them around Carolyn, and I am going to be actually using kind of construct pattern here, which is actually a prime 2 effect, and I'm going to be using it to obscure Carolyn's pattern from any observers. So if a magician is trying to find her, it's going to be very difficult.
Well, not very difficult. Like they would just have to counter magic whatever you've done.
Or they could find her, but they wouldn't know it's the same person who was dancing in the library. Sure. Or they'll just have to do their difficulty goes up.
Yes, their difficulty does go up.
Yes.
Well, their difficulty doesn't go up. They just have to roll and outroll you.
So I think we start at 6. I'm stressed, and I'd like to give myself a malice for being stressed.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Why does it start at 6? It's coincidental, and your highest sphere is 2. That should make
2.
it 5.
No, you're right. 5. Yeah. So +1 is 6.
+1 is 6. Are you using a personalized instrument?
Yes, it's kind of these. Now maybe I get another malice because it's less etherite than my usual stuff, it being ribbons. But
I'm not sure that's. Pardon me. I think that's fine. I think we'll knock it down to 5 there. I think you're fast casting this, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair given the situation as well.
Yeah, so that's 6. So unless you want to spend quintessence, that'll do.
I think I'll be okay with the quintessence for this one. I'll just give it a go. Yeah.
And I will not cheat.
Wow.
This one.
That'll do for 3 successes.
Okay. And I will not cheat out of this one. I will roll for counter magic. So I am going to leave it up to the roll of the dice as to whether it works or not.
That's so many dice, friends.
3 successes, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Yeah, obviously you won't know.
Yep. So many dice.
So the so Carolyn, how are we doing? Are we just like returning to the street and walking down to be kind of in view of where the cop and Mira are standing, and kind of like then Carolyn just starts doing her thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll again put on the new shoe and the old shoe, which is often my way of dealing with time.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of wrapped in these Charlie's bandages, I'll begin to, or ribbons. I guess I could even possibly use them as part of my dance, because ribbons are one of my things. I will start to dance, and again, it's kind of like time, like rhythm is the important thing, and the thing I'm paying attention to now is the rhythm of water falling around, like the drips, the consistent drip. I'm noticing patterns, and I'm noticing that they overlay in a certain way, and then I'm like timing everything to align with the splashes.
And as it comes together, you can start to rewind that rhythm and move, kind of track back along the song lying under everything. So as this starts to happen, Mira, obviously, the cop is like going to notice this and kind of peers over you and says, "What are those kids doing now? Hey,
I'm just going to shake my head and just say hippies.
they're not friends of yours, are they?
No.
Kind of disrespectful. Well, whatever. If that's the worst thing that happens today, I don't know. Okay, let's sort this roll. So it's coincidental. I believe it's time 2, right? To look backwards through time. Was that right? Yeah.
I think so.
Sounds about right. So that's going to be a starting difficulty of 5. You're using a personalized instrument, which knocks it down to 4. You're not fast casting. I think you're taking some time on it, so we can knock it down to 3. I think it was difficulty 3 last time, right?
Yeah.
By various things, and you're basically there. It's no distant subject. Yeah, it can't go below 3. Otherwise, I might even give you it for like basically repeating the same rote, as it were. But I think I'm comfortable with it just being at 3. Yeah, I think that's fine. So
okay, so I roll my arete. I always think it's the other way around.
Remember to, if you want to spend willpower, do it now. But
I will. So I'm rolling
automatically
3 dice, aiming for 3. Above 3, and I get 3 successes, so 4 successes in total.
That is excellent. So familiar as you are with kind of the rhythms underlying Cincinnati today, you managed to spin and whirl and step backwards through the time sphere and roll back the ticking clock. The sky gets brighter and then darker and darker still, until you feel yourself kind of moving and kind of still weaving those patterns with your body through a cool night air. Stars out overhead. You're looking out over the gas station, and as you are watching, it just seems to be like a normal gas station. There are lights on, there are people inside kind of browsing the shelves, there's someone stood behind the counter, and as you're watching, a car pulls up and a man steps out in a long coat, quite a kind of neat, kind of handsome looking guy. He steps out of the car and sort of kind of looks around a bit nervously, and then walks into the gas station and just kind of, starts to interact with the cashier. Almost as soon as the man steps inside, there is a shift and a blur and a twisting of the air in front of you, and the figure in dark green robes emerges, but like a fuzzy form of them. You get the impression that if you were a sleeper who were just to be standing on the street at this point in time, you would not have seen this individual here. Still leashed are the warped, twisted, monochrome figures of the monstrous spirits dragged from the base of the library, and they almost look like, I'm going to say they almost even look like they're crackling or have static laid over them. Maybe that's just the impression you got from talking about kind of the television and how they may have worked something on that, but they almost seem to be kind of like, jumping slightly as if the tracking is slightly out on them, perceiving them in the outside of their umbral home. And as you watch, the figure in green robes unleashes them. They speed forward with kind of juddery lurches of quickness through the night air and dissolve themselves inside the gas station and disappear. But at the exact moment they disappear, everyone inside the gas station, apart from the man who just entered, stops stock still, turns to the man in unison, as if all being controlled by the same monstrous presence, and start to talk. The man goes instantly berserk, leaps forward. There are cries of fear and pain from inside, and you see like a jet of arterial spray arc across the inside of the gas station. The figure in green robes turns slightly to one side, not to face you, but simply so like one side of their cowl is in your line of vision, and almost seems, you get the impression they just tilt as if they're sniffing the air, and they say, "A dancer through time." Your vision starts to fall apart.
I stumble, I think, at that point, pretty substantially, and I think I'm just about to fall onto concrete.
And I will try and grab her.
Why don't we? I think each time that this happens, I'm going to make it harsher and harsher for Caroline coming back the other side. So why don't we actually have a roll to catch Caroline there from Roth, please? So dexterity plus athletics, please.
Standard difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Two successes.
Yep, that's fine. You managed to save Caroline before she face plants onto the tarmac.
Yep. He was
Oh, come on. What are you doing over? Come on, move along.
Let's get out of here.
I'll half pick Caroline up and pull her into cover.
Thanks, Roth.
Are you alright?
Not really, but yeah, he was here. He unleashed those things onto the gas station, and they seem to be talking to a man in a long coat, and he went absolutely crazy, and they possessed everyone in the station, and then they said something to him. I can't remember what they. I don't think I heard.
You
it.
definitely didn't hear what they said. No.
They said something to him, and then he went absolutely crazy and killed them all. And then that green creep, I don't know. He spoke to me. He spoke right at me. It shouldn't be possible.
Charlie, if you were in any doubt, that means you're not only was your kind of protection overwhelmed, but whoever this is performing counter magic on you from a different point in time before you've done it.
Okay, nothing's impossible. Nothing's impossible. Everything is hard. That is next to impossible.
Yeah, I don't even know how you'd go about it.
Mira, is it safe to say, I'm assuming everyone is kind of making their way aware. Maybe Mira, you're making your excuses with the cop and moving on.
Yeah. I'll have left the incredibly boring conversation.
As you do so, he kind of goes, "Sorry about the light."
That's right.
His lighter never managed to.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
Well,
all right.
Being
And
suppressed
then
by Mirror's magic.
I'm gonna take one out of my pocket and just say, I have one anyway, and I'm just gonna.
Sure. As you walk away, your raven kind of alights on a nearby sort of mailbox, and just kind of quite sotto to you says, "Bad place, bad things in there."
Yeah, looks like it from Charlie sprinting at full speed out of there. Do you have any idea what might have happened here? Let's wait until we catch up to the others, and then maybe you can have a think on it.
Don't know what happened. Smells good though, round the back.
No. Leave that.
I'm gonna have a look.
No. Mir's just going to shake her head and keep walking towards the rest of the group.
Are we just kind of walking generally away from the place and talking about stuff? Because I think a little catch up within the cabal is probably called for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get somewhere discreet and then have a little bit of a breakdown.
Maybe you stop on a street corner where there's an old worn gazebo that's now kind of like covered in graffiti and kind of quite a lot of rubbish. And some horribly suspicious looking stains. But it's a good place to wait out maybe the last of the thunderstorm.
This is really far beyond us. Thank you, Mira. That was the most boring, but probably the most useful job.
That's right. Just don't make me do that again. My life flashed before my eyes. I feel so much older now.
Well, funny you should talk about life and flashing before eyes.
Yeah, you were going fast out of that door. Something spooked you?
The spirits are still in there, at least one of them. And they have warned us that we're dead if we continue to poke around. But maybe is that what spirits do?
At least we know where they went. Tell me about it. And she's going to get out her little. She has a notebook as well, but this is like a little black leather bound notebook with like copper runes stamped on it. And he's just going to start writing down everything that you're talking about in terms of ghosts, because this is one of her special interests.
I don't know much about this. Necromancy was never my thing, but definitely telekinesis. They were moving things around, and they manipulated the television. Very neat trick. Created dialogue from nothing by moving to different channels. Probably would have had to, because it would have been a tremendous amount of luck for all those channels to be saying the right things at the right time. Very, very good stuff, but terrifying. They said they'd grind my bones. They knew me by name. I suppose the spirits are good at that, though. The other ghost knew me by name as well. Then I was trying to get in accord with them, or at least figure out what was going on, but they were too powerful, and if that guy could shackle them. But
yeah. Also, from what Carolyn said, they don't seem like they're friendly.
No, they're wrong. Carolyn, what he saw you again.
Oh, that was you were doing a time dance again, and you saw him, and he spoke to you again.
Did you think Carolyn was just randomly dancing in the street?
Hey, I am known to do that, to be fair.
You know, fair, yes.
It's not
What did he say?
A possibility. But yeah, he spoke to me. He didn't do that the first time. I'm worried that he's getting a beat on me. And
what did he
say? I don't know. He just said I was a dancer through time, which he wasn't talking about anyone else.
He shouldn't. He just blew straight through. Like, he shouldn't have seen your pattern. Maybe he could have twigged that someone was observing him, but he couldn't have called your pattern your focus. That's very difficult.
Yeah.
What if he already knew that someone was going to be there to watch in the future?
I like the way you're thinking, Roth. That is the sort of thing that will make you an excellent time mage.
I've a feeling, given what we've observed from him so far, that one, he could do that, certainly, without having to have been briefed on the chances of someone coming to look beforehand. The amount of arts and skills he has put together in effects we've seen him do so far, I don't even think the professors are up to this.
You
You're on
need
mute,
it,
Matt.
Matt.
If you have powerful enough time magic, you definitely don't need to be forewarned. Like, if you're powerful enough to do all this, you're powerful enough to put safeguards in place to warn you backwards from the future that someone will be doing. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty much, that's time 4 or time 5 plus various other bits and pieces.
Well, this is increasingly sounding like someone that we should be absolutely nowhere near in this or any other time or plane.
But it also sounds like someone that someone needs to do something about.
Oh yeah. If they're setting spirits loose on sleepers so that they can get possessed and then get attacked by someone who probably wasn't human from the way that they were ripped apart, that's no.
Yeah,
that
I
needs
second
to
that
get
no.
stopped.
But
Did it look?
we're not the ones to do it.
We're not doing that.
This guy
Oh.
is running circles around us forward and backwards through time.
Oh, I never suggested we would, but more. I mean, this sounds like our feed work.
This is why the professor sent you, right? To
Yeah.
see if something needed taken care of.
It does.
Out of curiosity, who is looking after the slightly snow globe-like devices?
I think I had at least
Not
one.
me.
Yeah, we could have just put them all in my rucksack. There's probably space in there.
Let's say that then. Are we taking this opportunity to kind of take stock and look at the map and check the snow globes and things like that?
Yeah. Well, we need to know where we're going next because
Absolutely.
the trail has run out.
Certainly the trail of this effect has run out. It's worth noting, I know we have 4 locations, but you don't know where one of them is.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't know where the grove and the cave
error
is.
sign, yeah.
Yeah, well, and the error one. You
And
don't
the
know
error
where the
one.
grove and the cave is either. So, with that in mind, there's only one location
There's
know
only
where
one
it is,
option. Yeah,
which is a
exactly.
manufacturing plant. It's not too far away, you think, if you walk there either. So, am I safe to assume this is kind of our next target?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yes, but I would like to try something before we go.
Sure. Also, Mira, can you give me a wits plus alertness roll, please? Because if they're coming out of your bag and being checked, I'm going to assume you're the one who lays eyes on them first.
Difficulty 6.
Mm-hmm.
2 successes.
The error one, some of the mist has rolled away.
Oh, okay.
You can see shapes underneath that mist and the error warning that's still flashing, but they're not clear. But the obstruction is diminishing.
Okay. Well, whatever we're doing seems to be helping with these devices. Because this one's getting a bit clearer. Can I look at the Grove one as well and see if anything else is clearer?
Nothing's
about
changed
that?
in any of the other
Changed around
ones.
that. Okay.
But it's a good view. You just don't know where it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Roth, what were you going to do? Sorry.
I was going to spread the map out on a dry part of the floor and take a small It's like a bundle of base leather, skin. It makes weird clacking noises, and I'm going to take out about 10 small, flat, almost domino-like pieces of stone, and I'm going to try and cast runes to try and find, or at least have an indication of the grove over the map.
Okay, sure. What spheres are you using for this?
So I'm using my rune stones, which are a wonder,
Okay.
which have correspondence 1, and they should have their own arete. But the rules on wonders are wonderfully vague.
Okay. Will correspondence 1 just find something with no information about it whatsoever?
It will give me a north, south, east, or west direction.
Like just a direction from where you are. Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe. Or it's one of the things that it can discern.
Yeah, sure. That works. Okay, and it has its own arete?
Yes, but
Is it
because
not
it's
listed
level
in
1
the
wonder,
background section?
the background section just says it's got 1 to 3 points, and then nothing in the wonder section about what that points actually means.
Well, how many points have you got in wonder?
1.
Then it's got 1, hasn't it? Surely.
But it means 1 point in the background means that the wonder has 1 to 3 points.
Oh, right, I see.
I
Okay.
think from looking at the samples, it means that if it's a sphere 1 trinket, then it's an arete of 1. So it's just 1 dice.
Okay. But then why did it say 1 to 3?
I don't entirely know.
Okay. Sure. Well, why don't cast your runes and roll your die, I guess. It's a coincidental effect. So I guess it's just going to be difficulty 4.
Okay. That is exactly a 4, so success.
You cast the runes over the map, and you know what? I think this will emerge as kind of you feeling a kind of pulling in a certain direction, and you have to think a moment between like orienting yourself over the map and where you are, and the kind of memory of this vague sensation of almost like falling, like falling out of sleep. When there's that odd sensation of just like an extra gravity is pulling you slightly to the side. What you seek is somewhere to the east.
Right. I will note that away for later, and then if we haven't found our grove at a later point, I will try and triangulate.
Sure.
Yeah,
Presumably,
out of interest, are there any green spaces on the map
Lots.
east of here? Lots.
Lots.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
So, corollary to that, does Cincinnati have a zoo, and is it to the east?
Cincinnati does have a zoo, and I don't know if it's to the east, which is, I suppose, spoilering by exception.
Yeah, whoops. Well, I'll take that free information.
Sure. So, are we proceeding towards a manufacturing plant?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, we got.
So that's kind of to the northeast of where you are now. The rainstorm seems to be somewhat coming to a halt. Although as you, like one of you kind of, let's say Roth, kind of steps out down the stairs from the gazebo, you kind of look up and you feel like an odd sensation, like a little cold blast of air, and slowly kind of have just like a sensation of odd coldness on your forehead and reach up. It started snowing.
It's summer.
It's summer. We've just had an awful storm, and it started snowing. That's
As the others step down, Mira, you're the last one, kind of pulling the devices back into the bag and kind of standing up. Your raven flutters to the side of the gazebo and looks out. And as you kind of like go to step out of the gazebo, and walk on your way to the manufacturing plant, the raven tilts his head at you and looks at something behind you in the gazebo and just goes, "Wolf."
I'm just going to turn around and look and see.
There is a
What?
large, rather impressive graffiti of a wolf behind you on the gazebo wall, like a very well kind of like templated and sprayed one. It is also signed Wolf.
Okay, sure. Okay, can I ask if is there anything interesting about it from the standpoint of tracking stuff?
Oh no! He wasn't like giving you a clue. He was just
Mhm.
observing that there's a wolf there.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. In which case, yeah, I'll just say, nice. And head on. I'll probably put out my arm for him to perch on, and I'll feed him more of that energy bar.
Sure. So you stride through the streets of Cincinnati. People now thoroughly kind of freaked out at the snow in the middle of. I keep hovering whether it's June or July. I think we're in July. Hey, maybe that's changing too. And as you set off on quite a long walk towards where the manufacturing plant is labeled on the map, the traffic is kind of building up as people maybe try and head home or get where they're going faster. There's very few people on the streets, and they're kind of looking up. Like the snow is just kind of gently drifting down. It's not turning into like a ridiculous snowstorm or anything. But you're certainly a bit chilled, especially after having walked through the rainstorm. And Roth, you're definitely appreciating the slightly warmer clothing that you decided to take. The walk is long, as I say. It goes part way through downtown Cincinnati, and then you turn north, walking your way past a large stretch of rubble-broken wasteland with an odd, foul scent to it. And then about half an hour after that, you emerge into a large kind of industrial park, at the center of which is visible very quickly a large former manufacturing plant that's now essentially a burnt, smoking ruin. Much of it's still standing, but like, for example, that what appears to be the factory floor is just blown out. And there's rubble across the street. There's police tape up. This time there's a few more kind of cops around, and you see maybe a couple of firefighters still kind of talking to them and like packing away equipment. But there are, despite the snow, there's still quite a few other people around, just kind of peering and ogling the scene as well. So, it's quite a relatively active area, but kind of active enough that you can't, immediately quickly sneak aside, but also active enough that you don't stand out particularly, which is a mixed blessing.
Shall we find somewhere to secrete ourselves?
Sure. There's got to be somewhere that people aren't looking.
What do we do?
Is I like the gate shut and everything.
The gate was just like a lowering, one of those
The
bars,
barriers,
yeah, like a barrier. And I'm gonna say, yeah, I mean, it's still there, but it's also easily hoppable over. It's just there are a bunch of like emergency services nearby. I'd probably see you do that unless something were to be done.
Yeah, it's more. I was wondering where the perimeter has been set up. Is it at the wall, or is it
halfway along the actual road? So like the road is shut, unlike there's barricades across at a couple of points.
Okay.
Karen, I think regardless of what happens, we can't send you back again.
I mean, it worked well the first and second time.
Yeah, it worked well for him as well.
Okay. Do we have any way of seeing the signs of magical activity here? Or
I can try and whip something up.
There were those. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a trail that leads here as well.
Carolyn, he dispensed with all of the spirits, or did he keep some with him?
He unleashed all the 5 spirits into the
Yeah.
gas station.
He seemed to have one purpose with them.
Like, you haven't followed him here, so there's nothing to immediately pick up on, unless you want to carry out like a general like search for any traces of magic whatsoever, which would be quite a difficult role probably, unless you happen to be in the immediate area of it.
If he let loose all of the spirits, then I think I am of less use now for general detection.
I mean, might be worth Mira looking through those sunglasses on the off chance.
I'm just wearing them all the time anyway.
Oh, I see.
So
just so we don't waste any more time in this story arc returning to those are purely and entirely for seeing the door to the hotel.
Yeah, that's
not
what
a secret
I
treasure.
thought, yeah.
It's fine.
And for looking cool.
Yeah, that's it, of course.
That was no secret, eh?
Cool. Short.
Well,
I'm approaching a situation where prayer might be a viable option, my friends.
I mean, we can always ask people what happened here. Maybe somebody will know.
I mean,
or
based on
investigate the place.
Based on my previous experience with chatting to the Cincinnati's finest, they are not that fine.
Point taken.
Maybe we should do the investigating ourselves.
Well, I suppose we try and get round the back if a facility like this even has a back.
Or I can try porting us again.
That.
Let's just try and get inside the conventional way.
Sure. Are we going to kind of investigate around more thoroughly and kind of scout the place out a bit?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask Phil if he saw any like decent ways in other than the front gate during his like flyover.
Back. Less humans at back.
Back. Go to the back.
You can walk around. Like I said, there's a few people around there, and it's not that there's no one at the back, but there's definitely fewer kind of emergency service people around there. There's like you can see a cop nearby kind of taking maybe a witness statement off someone and kind of scribbling down, and a few people kind of passing by and like, taking notice of things, but definitely nowhere near the kind of presence at the front where the cops are talking to the fire people.
Does the factory back on to the wasteland?
No.
Or is it just like down there? We just walk past it.
I was going to say you should, but you weren't in it.
No.
No. You're way past the
Right.
stinky wasteland now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's encircled by road, if I remember. And
Yeah,
it's
it is
kind of in the
completely.
midst of an industrial.
Yeah, encircled by road and surrounded by 8-foot high wall with barbed wire at the top.
Yeah, like a big chain link. Yeah,
we've already
But
gone
there is
through
a-
this.
yeah. There is another barrier for which would have been for vehicles to go in.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like with the amount of people, you could just try and straight up sneak in.
Yeah.
I'm happy to just try and sneak in. I might give. So, did you say that there were only like a few people, police officers and stuff, like guarding that area?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try and sneak through, but I'm going to try and make it so that they are not doing their jobs properly while
Similar
we're doing
to the library effect.
Yeah. But this time I'm focusing on, instead of trying to make it so that they all look a certain direction when we go past, I'm instead just going to try and make it so that they either don't care or something else attracts their attention.
Sure. So that's going to be coincidental. What was it last time? Entropy 2?
Yes, because it was control probability.
Yeah. So that's a difficulty 5, but what are you using as a personalized instrument, if anything?
This time, because I'm trying to affect someone else negatively, I'm going to use a little 13-sided black dice with silver numbers on it.
Sure.
That I've got again on around my neck. I'm just gonna like pull it off and just like roll it around in my hand to try and get them to just be bad at their jobs for a little bit.
That you use when you meet up for the dark and gritty role-playing games back at the university, where you're all, of course, playing the popular 90s role-playing game Monster the Ravening, which only uses 13-sided dice. Yeah, you're using a personalized instrument there, so that is we're down to difficulty 4. I'd say you definitely have to fast cast this, so we're back up to difficulty 5. I don't see that there's anything else. So are you going to be sort of are you using any quintessence, I guess?
I'll use a quintessence on this one, which will leave me with 1 left. Did you say that I should use the task during
while you're casting?
While I'm casting, I'll wait until we're not around loads of people to do that. Then,
because it might be slightly odd. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, absolutely. Go for it.
Is that difficulty
5? I think
5. Okay. 2 successes.
Okay, that's great. So in that case, what I'm going to ask for is a wits or dexterity plus stealth roll for everyone, and I want that at difficulty 4, please. Don't forget your willpower if you want to spend it.
I'm rolling 7 dice.
And you'll probably be all right. Don't forget your arcane as well if you have arcane to add it.
Sorry, what was the roll category again? Wits or
either dexterity or wits plus stealth. Plus arcane. 3 from Roth, 4 from Mira, 3 from Charlie.
What was it? Difficulty 6, sorry.
4.
4, okay. Yes. 2 successes.
Okay. So mages are good at stealth, folks, because of arcane. Managing to just slip through the tides of probability. The police officer turns away to take another witness statement. One of the nearby oglers steps in gum and peers down mournfully at the sole of their shoe. You slip over the barrier or underneath it and further into the kind of like kind of now slightly sodden and icy ground underneath and towards the blackened shell of the manufacturing plant. Ahead of you is what looks like it was kind of like a delivery bay, but the doors to it have kind of like burnt off or crumbled or fallen apart. And there's like, they're just open, and inside you can see the kind of burnt out shell of where a few vans maybe were parked. Oddly, that maybe there was some kind of explosion because one of the huge lorries in there is pushed askance, kind of rammed into another one. As you stride forward into the bay, you also find yourself, there's just a massive puddle of something sticky just in front of the entrance to the loading bay, and you kind of step through it. It smells a bit odd, like something exploded or splattered here somehow.
I am not going to think too hard about that one. Yeah, I guess I continue inwards, deeper into the burned out labyrinth.
Okay, you step your way in through the load. Like I say, you can kind of see all the way out, although not directly onto the street because the parts of the walls that were taken apart are a little bit higher up than ground level. But essentially, and without just immediately redescribing the layout of the manufacturing plant again, there is the loading bay. There appears to be an area over to the left where you can see a lot of shattered glass and warped metal. And that appears to have been thoroughly and completely burnt. Like maybe the fire started there or something, because whatever was there was just been blown apart. You then walk into a big, large open area that appears to be like the factory floor, essentially, where there's a huge amount of machinery, a lot of which is wrecked. That is scattered all over the place and partly twisted. And there's also a partially wrecked and kind of tall metal steps, like curling round up to an upper level. All in all, though, I mean, there's not a lot of indicator of anything in here other than there was a lot of fire and force and some kind of detonation or explosion of some kind happened, presumably to have caused this much wreckage and not just burning. Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
force is not my specialty. What happened here?
Yeah, can I try and examine like what might have caused, particularly the explosion, using my forces? Would I need time to do that?
It would probably not be forces, it would probably be matter.
Okay, I don't have that, so I wouldn't be able to do it.
I think we don't have any matter in the Cabal, do we?
Don't think so.
Nope.
I
As
don't
you
think we've
are
got matter or mind, which
Sure.
is
as you are all kind of standing around, kind of peering around and wondering where, like, the only place you can see that you have that seems to have any area is up those stairs, but it looks kind of pretty kind of dodgy to try and maybe go up those stairs, and everything else is just this gutted, twisted wreck that you can see around you. Mira, your raven starts to kind of hello.
Is there
Someone.
which direction?
He's kind of looking up and looking a bit confused.
Spiritual?
Don't know.
Can I use
Both.
Both. Okay.
Can I try and sense if any one or thing is nearby?
Sense life, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a it's coincidental. So that's just going to be 4. You'll definitely be fast casting this, I imagine. So that's 5. Are you using a personalized instrument for it in any way?
I can't think of anything I would
You don't have
use.
to.
No.
Especially if it's just a quick thing you're doing to just like sort
it's-
of pulse the area, as it were, for life signs. Using any quintessence or anything?
No.
Yeah, difficulty 5, go for it.
3 successes.
There is someone perched behind you up on a load of twisted machinery, managing to somehow be out of the eye line of everyone.
Can I ask Vil to fly up and see if he can get a better eye line on them?
Well, I mean, you don't know about them because Roth just used magic to detect them.
Yeah, if Roth points them out.
I mean,
gonna...
Roth, you could just turn around and look.
Yeah, I'm going to, without alerting anyone that I've sensed something, slowly, casually turn around and accidentally glance in that direction.
Well, sat on top of a large fused pile of twisted machinery, to the degree where it must have been quite an athletic feat to climb up there, but that obviously is how the person must have done it, is a maybe a 30-ish year old looking woman of ambiguous heritage, dressed in a battered unzipped hoodie, a delivery company work shirt, and patched up jeans. She has short dreads and a backwards baseball cap, and kind of looks and peers down at you oddly and tilts her head slightly and says, mages. Curious. Worrying. And I think we'll leave the session there for the day. Thank you, folks. So, thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much to the players for participating. And yeah, we'll do some promo. Please throw some comments and questions in the chat for us to address, and we'll talk about them afterwards. In the meantime, links below, YouTube, Twitch, you know the deal. Go check them out. We've got loads of our videos archived over on YouTube. There's links to social media and Discord and Patreon. Check those out. We run 3 streams a week. Shadows of Estrin, which is usually Mondays, but sometimes Tuesdays at the moment. I believe it's returning to your screens on February the 14th. There's Simbaroom on Wednesdays, and this Cincinnati Chronicles on Thursdays. We also run a one-shot on the first weekend of every month. That means that it's this weekend, and on Sunday we are playing some Tales from the Loop at 3 o'clock p.m. GMT. That is 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and other time zones are available as well. I don't think we've got any follows or anything for that. And before I forget, obviously, I do have to mention the Bengals, Super Bowl, Bengals, Super Bowl.
The Super
Walk like an
Bowl.
Egyptian.
Super Bowl. Cool. What we got? John? What we got?
We have an adventure.
Spot on comment from Nightbites. Worrying. Ooh.
Why are mages worrying? We're all very
Mages
nice
worrying.
people.
Lord knows the changing breed will very much get on with mages.
Mm-hmm.
We're really in the deep end of the source books now.
Charlie go new. Yep.
Can't spell
All
mage.
vroom. New more vroom.
On
John
that,
spot on. I
Who's
heart
Chunk?
Chunk. Chunk is a character from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and I think that before he was an inept security guard, he was an inept cop in Cincinnati.
I think he mentions at some point about he used to be on the Force, I think, or
Maybe, yeah. Well, it depends who, because there's 2 characters called Chunk in Bloodlines, because they're actually twin brothers.
yes.
Yeah. Weirdly, like what I should have really done is use that. He's actually literally another character from Bloodlines who's literally mentioned in one of the new 5th edition books as being from Cincinnati, or their family is from Cincinnati. But it's such a random little side character who isn't even a vampire. But it's not Chunk, unfortunately. But I was like, I need a random cop. I'm using Chunk. There we go.
Excellent. By the way, relating to one of the bit earlier where Charlie went Noom, I was secretly very thankful to you, Matt, for being kind to me and John when we were like, you could very easily just been like, oh yes, you hear some commotion happening inside the gas station. As Charlie is running away, we go in. And I was just like,
Sure.
this is just an infinite, like, bad world. I can't
honest with
escape
you.
from
I
this.
kind of just wanted to move forward because this is definitely the most rushed timing of all the stories. We've got 1 session left, folks. I'm mildly bricking it, but we will be fine. I've cut some content, and we will be fine. It's all good. Yeah. Have we got anything else there, John, in comments and questions? 42. Will the spirit players have to play chained servants of this evil mage? No. Rest assured, the beings we saw rushing the gas station are not the player characters in the Wraith story arc. In fact, like, it won't really mean anything to anyone who's unfamiliar with Wraith. But Chris, would you like to tell everyone what those beings are? They are kind of Wraiths, but they're
I can't exactly remember what they're called. I've been working my way through the Wraith book, but basically Wraiths that start to succumb to the chaos and to the ultimate entropy of oblivion become these kind of like brutal zombies trying to pull other creatures with them into nothingness.
Yeah, they're called specters.
Yeah.
And they're real bad news. So it was quite good that you got out of there. Yeah. So there we go. But no, like I don't think that's a spoiler, because anyone who's really okay with Wraith will go, no, that can't be the players, or like they would be in like, yeah, they'd be mindless drones of oblivion. So, but no, don't worry, that's not the case. But hey, I wonder if the other boys will appear in that story arc in some sense or way, and maybe the library has some kind of occurrence. Who knows?
So,
You'll have to
real
tune in and
talk,
find out.
I'm not actually quite looking forward to Wraith, given all of the spooky nonsense you've managed to weave into this arc. So
I definitely wanted to build up some anticipation for Wraith into Mage. Yeah. What we got next? Steve, never split the party if there are ghosts. I mean, yeah.
What if they are ghosts, though? What if the party are the ghosts? What do we do, Steve?
That's a twist. This was actually Wraith.
No, but like I was actually kind of from a meta how to make this fun and interesting. I was really happy when we managed to get a good party split going for that exact reason. Like,
yeah,
here comes the content.
The spookiness of that moment for sure. So,
I mean, honestly, the funniest thing was just imagining Charlie pegging it out of the gas station behind the officer's head, and just Mira just watching him go.
Yeah, I did like that visual. Nightbite, spooky as heck for sure. Thank you. I love it, and Chris's responses to it all. Yeah, it was good. It was nice. Shout out to a bit of inspiration for the wording of what it eventually said. That's a Stephen King trick. Start by saying something quite spooky and oddly archaic and end it in the most kind of simplistic. Stephen King does that a lot. It'll start with like quite a weird, spooky, threatening thing, and then it'll be like, you little fuck. Like sort of like something that like clicks a primal thing of something someone might have yelled at you as a kid before they backhanded you. You know, like that, just that instant kind of like, reaction of cower from it, you know? It's used quite a lot in it and in other things. So, yeah. Nightbites, I love how Charlie's correcting himself from impossible to very difficult. Yeah, sure. But a lot of things move from impossible to very difficult when you have a high enough arete.
Yeah. And that dice pool was horrifying to me.
It's a big dice pool.
Meta text.
It's a big dice pool. 42, continuity problem. The wizard did it. Absolutely, that's the way forward with Mage. I do worry a bit about the bloody lockers now, but hey, no one made any decisions based on it, so it's fine. It's fine. It would have played out the same way.
I vaguely remember, I can't remember his name, but I think whoever was cleaning the lockers, I think Diamond gave them a look over, but wasn't maybe super impressed with them or something.
So maybe that'll do. Or maybe, hey, actually, come to think of it, you know, if it is a continuity error, it's not because the specters made you see blood there to spook you out, because they can do that. So there we go.
I'm good with that.
There we go. They used because they used outrage. They would have used pandemonium to make you see blood, and I think it's called outrage for the throwing the stuff around. Yeah, all the different wraith powers. It's fine. It's fine. It all works. It's great. Next.
Perfectly leads on to the next comment, because I was wondering how to fit that one in.
Bludgeoned to death by cans of soup. Or, for Simbaroom viewers, pots of hazelnut yogurt.
Callbacks.
The least spooky of yogurts.
Least spooky of yogurts. I don't know. Lemon yogurt, that's less spooky.
No, because lemon yogurt always, to me, tastes like slightly sweet, but also slightly gone off. And I think gone off yogurt is a bit
yogurt's
spooky.
Pretty spooky.
Are we going back to the yogurt discourse? Have we not learned?
It's never ended. Next.
That's everything before we descend into yogurt discourse.
That's everything we got. Yeah. Was that good, folks? There were quite a few Easter eggs in this one. We had a little the answer to the very first puzzle of Vampire the Masquerade, didn't we?
Yeah.
Why? What happened in the gas station?
Yeah, I was glad to finally figure that out, because I knew it would be something weird and magical, but I didn't think it would be ghosts.
Yeah,
so.
Which is the reason why I had to check the number of specters, because it had to match the number of people in the gas station who turned and started speaking to the guy. To the guy, the character whose name I seem to have... Morrow, thank you. Yeah, and we also had another little callback to Vampire, didn't we, Holly?
We did. The Wolf graffiti by Natalia Wolf.
Natalia.
Yeah.
Also, of course, wonderful foreshadowing as you go to the manufacturing plant
Exactly.
to have
yeah,
a raven
quite
say
liked it.
wolf.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Lovely.
all very,
I'm so good. So
This is how you
Oh,
got
God.
to the Super Bowl, Matt.
yeah, this is how
You personally.
It's channeling through my okay. So no, it's okay. I'm happy with myself for that. I'm happy with myself for that. It's fine to be proud of something stupid and nerdy you've done. So thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to my wonderful players, and we will see you next Thursday for the final installment of our Mage the Ascension story arc. We'll take at least a 1 week break after that before we hop back onto Wraith for our 4th story. But until then, folks, take care and stay safe. Bye bye.